Hi folks, this is Dr. Rob Cywes, the Carb Addiction Doc, with Janae, my lovely pregnant wife, the Carb Addiction Mom. And today we're going to talk about what I believe is a critical concept that is completely ignored by pregnant women and yet has a remarkable impact on the rest of your child's life. And that is the word imprinting. What imprinting is about is things that the pregnant mother does, methods to manage emotional need that occur in the mother directly imprint on the baby. And there's a whole hormonal cascade that is triggered in various ways that at a sub-brain, sub-cerebral level, the baby instinctively bonds to and creates memory for, that when it's triggered after the baby's born, they remember that at a biological level from what happened in utero, and they use the same methodology. So, for example, if mom smokes during pregnancy, forget about the dangers of smoking. Here's the bizarre part, is that nicotine buzz imprints on that baby. And there's a much higher likelihood that when the child becomes a teenager, that they're going to experiment with tobacco products, be it vaping or whatever it may be, things that contain nicotine. If the mom drinks alcohol, the same thing. If the mom eats carbohydrates, that rush of blood sugar, the rush of blood alcohol, all of those things imprint on the baby. And obviously those are addictive substances that are deleterious to the baby's long-term health. But on the flip side of that, the mother can also imprint healthy emotion management strategies. For example, physical activity is a wonderful way to activate the catecholamines, the adrenalines, the cortisols, the endorphins, the relaxation. Listening to music is another one, where those are soothing, calming effects that also imprint on the baby at a biological hormonal level. Even just listening to the mother's voice. Mom talks to baby. That is a calming, soothing thing that baby will remember and be able to use once it's born as a way to calm and soothe itself. When it hears mom's voice, that imprinting counts. So the importance of imprinting in terms of establishing a forum for the baby's psychology is critically important and should not be underestimated. We spend so much time on the health of the pregnancy, health of the baby, that mental health is even more important. And Janae is going to talk to you about some of the, understanding this knowledge, some of the imprinting strategies that she has done and does continuously, and some of the things that she's absolutely avoided.
Yeah, I think it's a very important concept, and I think a lot of mothers actually do this, right? They will do yoga or maybe even put headphones on their belly so that the baby can listen to music. I do a lot of the same things. You know, certainly physical activity, as we've talked about in the past, is very important for both of us. So going for light jogs, going for long walks, certainly taking our dog out for walks. You all know that by this point. I really love the beach, so we get out to the beach and take a walk along the beach when we can, when it's not closed due to COVID, of course. Also bike riding. You know, early in the pregnancy, my placenta was a little low, so I didn't want to do too much bouncing with my running, and so we went for long bike rides instead. So physical activity is definitely a piece of that. And then I think I've always really enjoyed music, so a lot of times we'll have Alexa play different songs, and occasionally I'll sing to the baby. That might be a little opposite of the the good nature of imprinting with my voice. But we listen to a lot of music. And then also there's evenings after Rob gets home that I will actually make him dance with me in the living room. So we do some dancing, and I dance on my own as well. I've always been big into dance. I really love rhythm and music, so those are certainly things as well. And then we've talked about in the past too, just meditation and praying. I do a lot of that. And just, which is always a part of my emotional management, is human connection. So I am a lot of times talking to friends and family. That makes me very, very happy. Even throughout the days, when I'm working, I have to take the dog out occasionally. I will pick up the phone and call a friend or call my mom and dad and have that human connection at the same time. So those are really, the things that I do to imprint, hopefully positively, on this baby. And but of course, the one thing that I try never to do is to eat carbohydrates and sugar, as we know that can be very damaging. So, if I've had a rough day at work, or I'm feeling stressed out or anxious, maybe I have a big deadline coming up. I've had a lot of those lately, with some big projects that are coming due. So I try to be especially diligent in that time, where I have water throughout the day, or a cup of hot tea or something, to use as my bridge, as Rob always advises. And then I also employ those sort of imprinting strategies and the emotional strategies in between my conference calls, or in between my meetings with clients, which we're doing all via Zoom meeting or via WebEx right now because of the restrictions and the stay-at-home orders. So that's what I do to stay emotionally connected and imprint positively on the baby.
I think the other thing that I've noticed with Janae, she's absolutely correct about all those things, but the other thing that you do is you focus on eating a decent amount of saturated fat.
Oh, yeah.
And you focus on salt. And yes, carbohydrates are a substance abuse problem, whether you're an addict or not. But the fat, the salt, the other things that we eat, the protein that we eat, also drives the biology of that baby. And ultimately, that baby is not just going to rely on its genes, but it's going to rely on some of that early subconscious memory as a way to live its life. And those are all very, very important things. And I think the greatest thing that Janae does, the single best thing and the single most difficult thing, I believe, that has been eroded from our society, is healthy human connection. Janae gets high every time she talks with people because she's so good at it. And she looks forward to that. And she has an enormously positive impact on all the lives around her. And I think that no matter who you are, that empathetic, door-opening human connection is such a struggle for most people. It certainly is a struggle for me. But that's such an important part of imprinting as well, is human connection. Because that's what's going to give that kid the emotional buoyancy it needs. So we'll see how this turns out. But that's imprinting, and don't ever forget about it as you prepare your baby for its best life.